Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect of the nation of Israel. Starting off with the 144,000, which would be the ruling governing body in the kingdom of heaven, which the 144,000 will be all men. That would be the elite of the 1/3. Right, the rest of the 1/3 will be men, women, and children that will be saved here in America, which will be believers. Right, 2/3 of our people here in America will be destroyed in Babylon the Great. You also have the rebels that are scattered abroad, different countries that will be destroyed, and you have the elect that are scattered abroad, different countries that will be saved, who the world ignorantly and willingly calls black, Hispanic, Native American, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Jamaican, Haitian, Guatemala, Panamanians, Cubans, right, Argentinians and Chileans. We are the Israelites. And I'm the brother Yeremiah Kamek. Y'all on the lesson from end time headlines that y'all can see. It says multiple shooters still at large after rampage at Virginia State University days before classes begin. Hey, call hello, YASHAMIAHLA again. It's 1:44, 10:44. Right, but this is breaking news, man. This is 2 hours ago, man. Hey, the Lord got spirits of vengeance out here, man. Right, and matter of fact, I'm gonna go to that. Right, when you go to Sirach, what is this? Sirach 39, if I'm not mistaken. and 28. It says, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of their destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. You see? So the Lord has spirits, demons out here on people to do certain things for his sake, man. For his sake. And the scriptures also say in the book of Amos, right? Amos 3 in verse 6, it says, shall a trumpet be blown in the city and people not be afraid? Shall there be any evil in the city and the Lord have not done it? Hey, the Lord does all evil, man. It tells you that in Isaiah 45:7. The Lord does all evil. Whether you think it's the Lord or not, it's really, it is the Lord. People will say Satan, but, Satan is not doing the will of the Lord, man. Right? And these things, whether they psyops, planned, it's still judgment at the end of the day. Hey, and really, when you go into college, you know what I'm saying, you really worshiping, a different God, really. I mean, when you get deep into it, you're not worshiping YASHAMIAHLA Shai. That knowledge of what you learn at college it's nothing to do with the Bible. It's nothing to do with the Lord. It's not going to get you salvation. People may say, oh, well, why you saying that people died and what does that have to do with them dying? Well, hey, it's judgment, and it ain't necessarily for them going to college necessarily, but it's just their time, whether they did something in this life or in their past life. The Lord has people's judgments play out in an appointed time, for whatever reason. And nobody perishes innocent, man. These things are very common, especially over here in America, where you got people that die in mass groves at these big events and gatherings, and these things have been common for a long time. Even before I even came into the truth, I remember there were school shootings that took place. It was common, and that just tells you, what times we live in and what type of world we really live in. And, this world is not a righteous kingdom. It's not good. Is not prevailing. Light is not shining upon this place, man. The wicked is ruling, right? And first and foremost, it's the Lord's judgment going forth, man. But I want to get this in Job, right? People will say, well, they were innocent people. They didn't do anything to anybody. They were just going to school. Well, ain't nobody innocent, according to the scriptures. You go to Job 4 and verse 7, it says, remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? You see? It says, even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. You see, so at some point in time, if people died or not, you know, they did some wickedness at some point, and it made the Lord mad. You know, you Christians can think whatever you want to, but the Lord is the one who sanctions people dying or people being in these terrible situations. You know, it's the Lord. You know, it's all Yahweh by YASHAMIAHLA, man. It ain't Jesus. You know, right? But you know, these just show, it shows what times we're living in, man. You gotta be on point, man. You know, of course, if you believe in YASHAMIAHLA, you know, you part of the Lord's hopefully elect. You know, the Lord got you. You know, but the average nigga that's not in this truth, or the average heathen, the Lord's not worried about them. You know, they're gonna be caught up in this world and doing this and doing that, and not be worried about things. There's all types of stuff happening every day, man. Judgment is going forth. Matter of fact, let me see if I haven't brought this out in a long time on the video. Let me see if I can get this forgot where it was at. Judgment to the light. Salakia. I haven't brought this out in a while. Let me see. There it goes. Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 5. It says, the just Lord is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Right? Every morning doeth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. And an average person, they don't have no shame. They don't think they do anything wrong. You know? Like I said, you Christians, you know, you believe, you know, the Lord's going to love you unconditionally. You know, all you got to do is say you accept him as your Lord and Savior. You know, the J word, which that ain't his damn name, but, and you're good. You could just continue on about the earth, just doing what you want to do. No, that's not how the Lord operates, man. You know? And I know the scriptures say, what, though a sinner do evil 100 times, but you don't want to, you know, let me see if I can get that. There's Ecclesiastes 8. I'll start at verse 11. It says, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. Right, you know, the average person, you know, I don't want to say that, you know, you're getting away with it, but, you know, a lot of times the Lord doesn't jack somebody up. You know, it's, you know, a lot of times, you know, when you do something wicked, but I mean, it depends on who the person is. If they, you know, it depends on what the Lord wants to do in that moment. If they do something wicked, I mean, the Lord could take your ass out. You know, it could be something as small as you eating pork. Somebody didn't died, you know, eating pork. They just bit into it. They just fucking dropped dead. A Jake, should I say, because the laws was given to Israelites, right? But for the most part, you know, it tells you, you know, that judgment is not executed all the time as soon as you do something. So people think, you know, they're good, they can just continue going about doing what they're doing, but don't think that you're good, man, because the Lord gets you when you're not thinking about it, when you're comfortable, when you're most vulnerable, right? This is the one I was, you know, pretty much quoting. Verse 12, it says, though a sinner do evil 100 times and his days be prolonged. You see, you could do evil, and that's just a complete number. I mean, you could do evil. Somebody could be evil their whole life. They could live 50, 60 years, 80 years, and the Lord not really do nothing to them until like they get to their deathbed. You know, the Lord gave them some type of flesh-eating bacteria. You know, or they just stinking, or you know, I'm just you know saying something, a random disease, but. You know, then the Lord get him, or the Lord may not even get him in that lifetime. You know, but because there's a thing called reincarnation. All right, you know, that's another lesson for another day. But you know, the point is, you don't want to chance that, Jake. You know, you don't want to, you know, because we don't know when the Lord's gonna do something. You know what I'm saying? We all subject to get it. We even subject to getting put to death just because we in the truth and we know the Lord's name. Matter of fact, we're on a higher level. We're held more accountable. You know, to following the Lord. Right? But I'm going to read this again. This is verse 12. It says, though a sinner do evil 100 times, and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it should be well with them that fear YASHAMIAHLA, which fear before him. But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feareth not before YASHAMIAHLA. And the average person, they don't fear the Lord, man. They don't teach that. Oh, why would I have to fear God if he loves me? Well, you ever heard of a healthy fear towards your parents? You know, if you had parents that, corrected you and, guided you the right way, and, they punished you when you did something wrong, you as a kid, like I said, if you was guided the right way, train up a child the way he should go, you would fear your parents. Not that you think they gonna, kill you, so to speak, but you don't want them to like yell at you or however they gonna punish you. You don't want that to happen because you want to keep being in good graces with them. It's the same thing with the Lord, but the Lord, this is our courageous, so this is a whole different level. It's really not a comparison, but I'm trying to compare it to just to having a fear towards the Lord, because this is life or death with the Lord. He created everything and everybody. Your parents, they birthed you, they helped create you on this physical level, but the Lord gave you your spirit, and the Lord causes everything to happen, But these people out here that's going to college, that's still going on vacation, all these things that's going on in the world, and they didn't expect this, But the Lord, had these people get scared, or if somebody died, that he had them get taken out. And this is all the will of the Lord, man. So, hey, I'm going to get this and I'm going to close out, right? This is Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15. It says, "See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Wherefore be not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is, and be not drunk with wine," right? With these other philosophies, right? Or even physically. It says, "We're in excess, but be filled with the spirit of Yahweh Bashmiel." That's what we got to be focused on, man. This true focused on salvation. Hey, our Lord Yahweh Shai's coming back. All hell is about to break loose out here, man. Even worse. MOAB could come, next few months, weeks, we are in these times, man. And judgment's ramping up. You got tornadoes, you in Indiana, you got wildfire, you got all type of shit happening, man. The Lord is making things happen, so you people don't have no excuse. You Jakes don't have no excuse. Oh, I didn't know. No, you did. This truth has been going out for a long time now. We in a great awakening right now. Ezekiel 37. So you can't say you ain't heard. Right? And the apostle's been saying for a while now to, and when the brothers ain't in college, we're not doing that, but, to even just, it's just, like I said, just going out like that, we're not doing that, we're not going out to places where there's a large group of people like that. We're not doing it. If we do, it's every now and then. I can speak for myself. I don't go out like that. I go to work, come home, may go to work out, but that's it. Go, link up with the brother, chop it up with him, do lessons, all that. But other than that, we ain't just out here willy-nilly, around these people like that. So, hey, this is judgment. Fear the Lord, Jake. I just wanted to do this quick video, man. I think something else happened. There was another shooting, but, these people getting judged. The Lord messing these people up, man. So, hey, call hello, Yabashmel Shai, Bashim Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. To next time, I want to say, Baba